So in GI cancer, we've had a recent, Pat Smullen, before he passed away, he raised a lot of money for us in the field of pancreas cancer. And we've put that money to good use. We now have three very exciting protocols, one of which has recently opened, looking at the standard of care chemotherapy with an additional treatment that will hopefully help to unlock the cancer to allow the chemotherapy in better. That study is now open at a number of sites throughout Ireland, and indeed patients have started going on the study. So it's certainly one, and there are no placebos on that study. Everyone gets the active treatment. So it's definitely one to look out for. Other than that, one of our other very exciting studies is coming from Dr. Austin Duffy, who is looking at a new combination in people who have had prior chemotherapy for pancreas cancer, combination of tablets. Again, there's no placebos on this study, and it looks very exciting in the small number of patients that have received this combination already. So certainly something to look out for, which should open hopefully the latter end of next year. And then in the third pancreas cancer study that we're opening is for patients who are lucky enough to be in the area of surgery for pancreas cancer, which is at the moment a too small a percentage, but it's looking at building up their muscle strength and their dietary reserves so that when they go to the surgery, they'll be able to get through it better, and they'll be able to go on and have their chemotherapy better afterwards. So there, I think in the area of pancreas cancer, we really have an exciting portfolio, which will probably be coming to fruition in the middle to end of next year. In colorectal cancer, we have a number of studies that are going to open next year. Colorectal cancer is beginning to break down into a series of, instead of saying someone has colon cancer, it's now going to the point where we divide it into different subtypes according to which gene drivers are in the cancer. And we have a study looking at BRAF mutant colorectal cancer, which will open hopefully later next year. And we also have a study for patients who have a type of colorectal cancer called a mismatch deficient colorectal cancer. That study is open in St. Vincent's and in Cork at present, and will expand with new cohorts of patients into next year. So that is how things are going in colorectal cancer. We're breaking it down into a number of different diseases types, and we're treating according to that type rather than treating everyone in the same way. Ireland is a relatively small country with a homogeneous population. Most of our oncologists, who are the ones who do clinical trials, trained in the US and are used to treating patients in the US style protocols, which is where a lot of the clinical trials come from. Plus, when we worked in the US, a lot of our investigators would have made contacts over there, and we would use those to good effect when we come back to Ireland. So, and then we have a patient population who increasingly are keen to go on clinical trials, and because they want to get access to the newest medications. So when you put all that together, you hit a fairly potent combination for getting people onto studies in Ireland. My advice to those groups would be work with the Cancer Trials Ireland, our disease-specific subgroups, and our leaders in disease areas, and let's work out the studies that are going to do well in Ireland, because we have experience and we have knowledge about the sites that do trials, and we know which trials are going to do well, and we can also, when we make a commitment, we'll fulfill it. So I would say there's great potential in Ireland, and if we pick the right study to begin with, we will have a long and fruitful relationship together. Well, as an investigator, one site, I work at two sites, but you only generally open a study at one site. So Ireland is too small, again, for a pharmaceutical company to be interested in opening a trial in one site. If I can go to a pharmaceutical company or a collaborative group and say, look, we have 4 sites that do this disease. I know these guys, they'll come with me, we'll all work together, we'll accrue a good number of patients. then that's much more attractive than one site and a quarter of the patients. So that's how I believe that we can work, and we do work in Cancer Trials Ireland. So that is what I would say is how the model for making things successful in the future also. I think so. Because we're small, we have to be nimble. And one of the issues that we have is we need to make all the processes that lead up to a trial being approved. We need to get those to be very effective. As the ethics and regulatory, we need to get those to work very quickly so to not put us at a disadvantage. Our accrual potential in Ireland, because we're smaller, is clearly going to be not as attractive to a company as that of the UK, which is 10 times our population, or Germany. But we can make up for that with efficiencies. And the other thing that we can do is when we commit to doing a trial and we commit to a certain number of patients going on a trial, then we should do our very best to meet those commitments. So I think from a patient point of view, there are two main things. The first thing, the advantage is you go on a trial, you hopefully will get access to the latest and the best treatments. But even if you don't, even if you go on the control arm, as they call it, then we know that the quality of care in a clinical trial, because everything has to be done according to the trial protocol and we get audited to make sure that it's done like that, then all your care will be of the highest quality. You'll have doctors, nurses, and looking after you, and if anything happens to you, all investigations will be done to make sure that first of all we find out what happened, and secondly that we resolve it. So it's not that we wouldn't do that for any patient, but when you're on a trial, you're under that much more level of scrutiny, and that's all. And patients like that. They also like having a dedicated nurse that they can phone if they have an issue. So all in all, of course, you may get access to the latest treatment way before anyone else could. But even if you don't, you'll still be looked after very, very well. So people worry about placebos and dummy pills. In reality, how clinical trials work is that they add on the new drug. Okay, not everyone on the study will get the new drug necessarily. Depends on the type of study, but they add on the new drug to an existing treatment. So even if you're in the arm that doesn't get the new drug, you will still get the standard of care existing treatment on a study. So there will be very, very rare that there will be a study where you could be randomized to no effective treatment. And in fact, there's two reasons for that. You don't want it, but we don't want it for you either. So, and we wouldn't suggest a study like that to you, because we have the best interests of the patient at heart. It's in our interest that you do as well, that you do very well as also. I think you should get your information. You should talk to the doctor, talk to the nursing staff, get all the information about the trial. Go home and have a think about it. Talk to your relatives, talk to your GP, whoever you find that when you have a difficult decision to make, that the people that you find will give you good advice. But ultimately, you can change your mind about a trial at any time. And you have to believe that your doctor and the team looking after you wouldn't recommend the trial unless they thought it was in your best interest, because obviously there's a lot of work goes into opening up these trials. And there's a lot of thought goes into selecting the best trials for a given patient population. So all that work has been done before the trial even opens. So it's to remember that, but also to think long and hard, is this for me? Ultimately, I believe that the care you receive on a trial is second to none. But you have to be comfortable going in that it's the right thing for you.